Hey everyone, it's Sports Talk with Coach West. I just wanted to do a quick video today, talk about the potential destinations where Kawhi Leonard could end up, and hopefully within the next few days. Also talk about some of the teams that made some good moves, some teams that um, maybe made some questionable moves, and then also talk about the free agents that are still available, who's the best of those who are available, and then also my predictions on how I think the NBA season, 5 predictions on how I think the NBA season will go. But first, I want to just thank all those military men and women who serve in our military forces here, especially with the 4th of July. I just want to thank them for all that they do so we can continue to keep our freedoms. So, with that said, what I want to go over today with you guys is I want to go over the Toronto Raptors, Los Angeles Lakers, Los Angeles Clippers, kind of what's going to happen if Kawhi goes to one of those or stays in Toronto, kind of how that's going to work out with the team for this coming season. Also have the New York Knicks, 76ers, different free agents that are available still, and my top 5 predictions on what's going to happen within this NBA season. So the first one, we have the Toronto Raptors. The starting lineup last year for the Toronto Raptors was Kyle Lowry as point guard, Danny Green the shooting guard, Kawhi Leonard small forward, Pascal Siakam power forward, Marc Gasol the center. Now Marc Gasol, he signed to stay, so he'll be there next year. Kyle Lowry, Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, Serge Ibaka should most likely be there also. So the one on the left shows their starting 5 if Kawhi decides to stay next year. If he leaves, like I say, they may have to move Siakam up to small forward, or they may have to get some potential bench guys or G League guys to potentially mix in that small forward, power forward position. So this is kind of how it would look, in my opinion, how I feel it would look. And this is kind of how I see Toronto next season. So if Kawhi stays, if he goes, I still think they're a top 3 team in the East next year either way, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens. The Lakers, Danny Green's expressed a lot of interest in going to the Lakers as of late, so I think he'll be there. So if they do get Kawhi, they'll have Danny Green, LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, Kyle Kuzma, Anthony Davis, and then they're going to have to pick up some bench pieces here and there. So, I mean, LeBron could even start at point guard, I don't know. But I think with Danny Green, if he goes over there, and Kawhi, that could set up for a pretty scary team in the West. Now, if for some reason they don't sign Kawhi, you're looking at having maybe Rondo, Caldwell Pope, LeBron, Kuzma, Anthony Davis in that starting lineup. And then to kind of find some pieces here and there to fill it out. So I think the Lakers will still be okay even if they don't get Kawhi. They won't have a super deep bench, but they will have some all-stars, and we'll see how that works out. Now the Clippers, they have Alexander. Beverly just signed a 3-year, $40 million contract to stay. Kawhi's there. They have Gallinari and Zubac. Now that would be a decent team. This would be similar to a Toronto Raptors team where Kawhi could get in there and make everybody better. He could still have multiple 30-point games like he did in the playoffs to help his team, but I think some of these stars on, or maybe lesser-known players on the Clippers having Kawhi could get better, or make it better just like Toronto did. It seemed like their bench was getting better. It seemed like their starters were getting better. Kawhi kind of has that impact on his team. Now, if they don't get Kawhi, they still have Alexander, Beverly, maybe Landry Shamet at that small forward, Gallinari and Zubac, and then their bench. They haven't made a ton of moves either. So the thing with the Kawhi sweepstakes is if these teams have been planning to use that max contract for Kawhi, now if that doesn't happen, it's going to be hard for some of these teams to pick up pieces that they need. I think the Clippers, it's going to affect the most if Kawhi doesn't sign with them. Just because, I mean, they still have some young talent, things like that, but I feel like without having Kawhi there, they're still potentially on the line of a playoff spot. If Kawhi goes there, I think they're in the playoffs. Still, maybe a little like 6, 7, potentially 8. But without him, I don't think they make the playoffs, or it's very close. Now, the Lakers, it will affect a little bit. I mean, they still have Kuzma, James, and Davis. Now, I think they'll be okay. I think you can kind of build some pieces around them, even some lesser-known players. And then Toronto, I think it'll hurt. So I think it'll hurt the Clippers the most. Toronto second, because they still have a really good team up there, good team chemistry. And the Lakers last, just because they do have all-stars, and I think they'll be able. There's people who are going to want to play like Danny Green and those to come there. So I'm hoping this sweepstake ends soon, so we can figure out who's going where. But we just got to sit and wait until that time. Now, the New York Knicks, the reason I want to talk about them is they had some really high hopes, high aspirations for this offseason. They wanted Kyrie. They thought they could land Kevin Durant. And I actually heard that they canceled their meeting with Kevin Durant because they didn't want to waste or miss out on other players that they could potentially get. So if the Knicks were in the same situation, they may not have got some of the players that they picked up the last few days. So their starting five last season, I looked it up, and they had so many different starting fives. There was not a player who started more than maybe 57, 58 games out of the 82-game season. So Moutier, he's actually on the Jazz now. Smith, super quick point guard, shooting guard. He should still be there. Damian Dotson, Mario Hezonja, Kevin Knox, DeAndre Jordan. Also, DeAndre Jordan is now in Brooklyn. So they did go out, and I think they picked up some quality pieces. I think if the chemistry gets right, they definitely do better than they did last year. I think they only had 19 or 20 wins. So I think they'll be able to be a better team next year than they were last year, but it's going to be a rebuilding process. They were able to get Peyton, Bullock, R.J. Barrett in the draft, Julius Randle, Bobby Portis. So I think they'll be, I won't say they're going to contend for a playoff spot, but I think they'll have a decent season. If they can get that chemistry built, I think they could surprise a couple people every now and then. But they're definitely in that rebuilding phase, rebuilding process. The 76ers is a team that I feel like could be either the number 1 or number 2 in the East next season. Really, they did lose some big names. They lost J.J. Redick to the Pelicans, Jimmy Butler to the Heat. They still have Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris. They both signed big contracts. Joel Embiid. And then they actually added Josh Richardson in, Al Horford in. So this could be a team that I think you need to keep your eye out for. They're big. A lot of athletic ability there. I think for teams to come in and beat them, they're going to have to score a lot in transition, a lot of fast break points, quick offense, because I think they'll be a force that will be reckoned with this next season if they stay healthy. So be on the lookout for them, and we'll see how far they can go with this lineup. The top 10 free agents, we have DeLon Wright. He's at Memphis right now. Played at Toronto half the season last year. Once he hit Memphis, he averaged a few triple doubles in the second half of the season. Really good player. He's a restricted free agent, so I don't know if Memphis is planning on keeping him. But if they don't, I think a team picks him up pretty quick. I would have loved to see the Jazz pick him up, just because he's from the University of Utah. Good player, athletic. I think whatever team he ends up on, he's going to be a good fit, as long as they utilize him in the way that they should. Danny Green, like I said, I think he's going to be going to the Lakers once this Kawhi sweepstakes is over. Jabari Parker, Rondé Hollis Jefferson, DeMarcus Cousins, Caldwell Pope, Avery Bradley, Kelly Oubre, Michael Green, Marcus Morris. I think once Kawhi makes his decision, I think all of these guys go pretty quick. Fill in for maybe the Raptors, the Clippers, the Lakers. I think a lot of these guys could end up in those places. It's just hard to say for now. Another name on there is Rajon Rondo, still unsigned, so he could potentially stay at the Lakers or move on somewhere. But these are kind of the top 10 free agents that I've been able to see as I've kind of done some research this last week, who they are expecting to go pretty quick once all of this major free agency with Kawhi Leonard is over. So my predictions for next season is Kawhi Leonard. I think he stays in Toronto. That may be an unpopular opinion, but I think he stays in Toronto, stays there for a year or two, goes and gets his 10-year max contract, and then ends up finishing his career wherever he wants. I think that stick it around for one or two more years. I think they're still top 3 in the East if he sticks around. Maybe he could make another run. But I think he stays there for at least one more year and then moves on to maybe an area that he wants to be potentially for the remainder of his career. I think the 76ers, they make some noise in the East. I think they could finish top 1 or 2 in the East, as long as that lineup stays healthy. Pelicans, I think I'm going to go out on the limb and say they make the playoffs. They got some good players coming in this offseason. They got Derek Favors went down there. He'll probably start at their center. J.J. Redick's probably start at their shooting guard. Zion Williamson, probably their power forward. Maybe even small forward. And I think they have a lot of pieces there with the Lakers trade, Josh Hart, Brandon Ingram, a lot of good pieces there. So if they can figure out that chemistry and get something going, I think they could sneak into the playoffs, maybe a 6th or 8th seed. And then my next prediction, the Lakers do not win an NBA championship this season. So I think that they'll have a decent season. I think they'll make the playoffs, but I don't think that they go all the way to the NBA Finals and win. And then my last one is I think the Utah Jazz make it as top 3 in the West. With everything that they've done in the offseason, I think if they can get that chemistry going, if they stay healthy throughout the season, they have Donovan Mitchell, Mike Conley, Bojan is there now from Indiana, and then they picked up some key pieces in the offseason. So be on the lookout for these teams. Like I say, see what happens in Toronto. Watch out for the 76ers to make some noise. Watch the Pelicans. I think they'll be under the radar all year, but I think they'll do some good things down there. Don't think the Lakers will win the NBA championship, and then Jazz finish top 3. So make sure you guys like my videos, subscribe to my page, click on the notification icon in the corner, so you can get updated. I'm actually going to be doing another one on the Jazz, on their players that they brought in free agency, how they're going to contribute, how they're going to help, and what I expect from that. So like I say, like my page, like my channel, subscribe to it, leave your comments, let me know what you think, let me know if these are crazy predictions, let me know what you think, let me know your predictions, and I'm excited to see what happens this season. I wish it was already October so we could get this going. So this is Sports Talk with Coach West. Have a good day.